your cash flow goes down, and suddenly the wheels just start falling off. That there's no two ways about it, and it takes so long to build, but fuck, it's quick for those wheels to come off and you to go straight down. Like it is a slippery slope.
Hey, welcome to the Tradie Success Podcast. On this podcast, you're going to hear real life stories from trade business owners to minimize the mistakes you're going to make, maximize profit, create more time freedom, and minimize emotional overwhelm. So hit subscribe and follow us now and enjoy the episode. Hey everyone, welcome to the Tradie Success Podcast. Really excited to be here today with Adam Taylor from AT Electrical. Adam, thanks for joining us, mate.
Loving it to be here. Thank you so much for the invitation.
I can't wait to talk about your story. I know it's going to be a bit of a tough one to talk through, but Adam had a business long ago and actually had to work through the challenges of scaling it, which we're going to talk about, and actually had to start again. So Adam, thanks so much for sharing your story today. And I'd love to start with, what was your other business and how big did it get to before you had to, what was that situation?
So back in about 2004, I finished my apprenticeship and thought, wow, let's get into it. Let's conquer the world. And
yeah.
So I started a company in Perth called AT Electrical, and grew very quickly. Within a year, we had 3-4 tradies, apprentices, and ran through the years up until 2016, and grew at the peak of it with a combination of subbies and all sorts of projects going on everywhere, domestic, commercial, up north. The peak of it was nearly 30 people, so staff. So it was a big thing, and it was chaos. I don't remember much of it actually, because it was just go, and yeah, got to that point where it got too much. Yeah, crazy. About 15 years worth of my life.
Yeah, and that's 15 years of solid growth. And what would you say was the reason you got into the business in the first place? What was the thing you wanted to achieve with that business?
Just wanted to be the man. Actually, when I was young, I had very big views and wanted to reach the top and have that lifestyle that everybody wants, where you've got freedom and you're able to just do what you want to do, and have people look up to you and lead, be a leader. It's so important that for me that just to having people following you and leave a legacy. Yeah.
What with the growth that you had, did you ever have freedom through the way that you were running the business?
No, never freedom. I was the one-stop shop for everything. There was no structure. I didn't know structure, actually. I didn't even know how to run a business properly. You've got to realize it was the start of the technology boom, I guess. So I started, iPhones have only just come on board, and all this different techniques and stuff, and we're just flying blind, and you're the go-to guy for everyone, and you've got no backing behind you, and there's just no break. It's relentless.
Yeah. So with your 30 staff at the peak of it, did you have any management in place, supervisors, administration?
I had one administration, and I tried to bring a supervisor in who was a mate, and it didn't work. And so, no, it was back to me. Everything for me, from builders messages from 5 a.m, chaos, right through till the whole day's work, quoting, right through till probably 8 or 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah, man, yeah. It's hectic. And I think, it's probably an example of what people think business would be like. We had a comment in the academy the other day of the difference between a small business and a big business, and the conventional thinking is if I've, when I'm a sole trader, I'm already this busy. If I got 30 staff, I'm going to be 30 times as busy.
Yeah.
And so if you're the go-to guy for everything, you practically are, you
Yeah.
are,
Crazy.
30 times as busy. And so you were living that life, man. And could you try and paint a picture for what that looked like in terms of a lifestyle? Like, what was it life look like as you went through the years?
Um, well, you start off. Let's from the start. So you start off, and you don't have many responsibilities outside work. You sort of have you look after yourself, and it's probably easier to run like that at the start. Um, but as you grow, you get married. Kids come involved. You have a family, which is amazing. Um, but you're still running like go 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 from 5 in the morning through till 8. There's no relief, and there's no structure behind you to protect you. And I was just getting burnt out. No structure behind me, and I was, everything behind me started to crumble. So you don't put the time into your family. Um, you don't prioritize your family, your home life, and it just starts to crumble. And um, you're not you're presenting your best self to your family and your best self to the people that work for you, because you're just getting thrown from pillar to post.
Mm.
So then, yeah, we ran into a bit of trouble with the business. Obviously, I wasn't keeping enough check on everything. I was, GM role, ops role, even getting on the tools sometimes as well, which is crazy. Why would I be doing that when I've got all this stuff? Why? Why? That's
Yeah.
crazy. What am I thinking? And it's just, yeah. And then it just got on top of me. Lost control of it. Um, your cash flow goes down, and suddenly the wheels just start falling off. There's no two ways about it, and it takes so long to build, but fuck, it's quick for those wheels to come off and you to go straight down. Like it is a slippery slope. And you know what? There's no one to grab you on the way down, because you haven't got that behind you. So then your life crumbles. Yeah, you lose a lot of things. Yeah, it's tough. It's not easy, and some of the friends that you think you had, you don't have. Um, yeah, it's tough. So, um, yeah, went to a pretty dark place after that. After it all folded, liquidated, um, you lose a lot. You lose everything. Um, yeah, my marriage ended. Um, so yeah, that's life. Life's gets tough, and then I decided to start again by myself, because I needed to work. And I got a call one afternoon from a lady from the academy, and said, "Oh, what are you doing? And are you interested in joining up on this great support network that helps you build your business?" And I thought, wow, that's never had anybody actually offer to help. I'm like, wow, this is cool. So I joined up, and straight away you got access to all these coaches, and all this amazing support and structure. Structure? What is structure? I've never had that in my life. That's crazy to even think about. And you get taught, and then suddenly you're building a network behind you with processes, and then at the moment now we call my house our nest. So it's a protection from the world, so to speak, and customers, so that we're able to have that home life. And the biggest thing is to be able to switch off. You've got to be able to switch off and put your time into your family. It's so important. And that nest is built by walls, and they're TSA walls, and they are processes. They are implementation of automation and all sorts of different things to help run your business without me being in it. And I'm having to now be able to switch off. And then so now this is a happy space. So I'm at home now, and I'm good. I'm putting my time into my family and my beautiful partner, Ulissa. She's amazing, and my kids. And suddenly, I'm going to the gym. I'm getting time to do that. I'm feeling fit. I'm feeling strong, and I got this new life. I'm at 44, and I'm like, wow, I feel like I'm 18 again. This is all right. I went to a pretty dark place before, but now I'm like, woohoo!
Yeah,
And
man. So
and then
cool.
you go to work, and you present your best self to your employees, and they're seeing it. They're seeing the positivity, and they're frothing off it. And it's just a change in everything. It's crazy.
So good, man. No, I'm super proud of your transformation. And I'd love to share, later in this episode, like share some of the things that has been contrastly different from the first time that you did do your business and grew your business to 30 odd staff. Before we do, if you wouldn't mind, I'd love to go back and just talk through maybe the last 5 years of that business, the first business before it did quickly go down a slide, and what was actually happening with you, your relationships, like you personally and the business itself. Like, were you still hopeful? Were you like, no, we're going to be good one day? Were you thinking I'm going to have freedom soon enough? What was the situation like? Did you have money up until that point? You didn't. Like, what caused it to, like, you know, so quickly fold and cause those issues that you had to face?
Definitely not having protection in the processes to be able to support the business. So, for instance, builders take control of your schedule. You've you're not putting your best in for your employees. You're unorganised. I was always hopeful to continue it, um, but there just wasn't enough of me to get around. I was just too involved in everything and micromanaging everything. I didn't have anything at all to help me keep the business going. Um, and then you get to a point where it's just gone. You can't bring it back. You can't implement um, things quick enough. Nor did I know how to do it. That's probably the main thing.
Mm,
I was by myself. I was lonely. It's lonely at the top. There was no help. It was so hard. Yeah, I struggled really bad. Yeah.
yeah. Was it at the end of the day, was it cash flow that caused all the problems? Was it, not having enough money in the bank to pay staff, suppliers, tax bills? Like, what caused the point where you just like,
All of it. So cash flow problems, then delays paying your tax. You then going from supplier to supplier, trying to shift materials around to keep that coming in. Yeah, it's a bit of a 10-prong attack that happens to you. Yeah, everything just starts to accumulate to a point where you get pushed into a corner. And then being a PTY limited, you can't trade insolvent. So then you have the accountant onto you saying, you're starting to, this isn't looking good. You need to turn this around. And then a line in the sand has to be drawn. You have to, you can't trade insolvent.
do you feel, and let me know if this is too personal, but the relationship with your wife at the time, was that sort of diminishing over time because you were so sucked into the business? Because I'm sure it wasn't intentional. Like, you weren't not giving them time because you didn't want to. It was just that you were pulled by, your clients and your staff and the demand at the business because you're the one point of call for everything. And I know you as a person, and you're, a kind-hearted person. It wouldn't have been intentional. It's just that the situation caused you to be so absorbed with the business that you're no longer able to love, no longer able to give time to your family, no longer able to, support in an emotional way. Do you feel that was slowly happening anyway? And when that happened, it just sort of caused all of the things to just fall out, or is it because of the fallout? Was everything good up until that moment, and the fallout caused the problems?
No, it's a build up over time. You're not switching off, so you're working the long hours. So already you're limiting your time for personal family. But not only that, you're still turning inside. You're not switching off as well mentally. So the time you are giving to family, you're not giving 100% either. And that changes a person too, because then you can become a bit snappy. You pick up a few bad habits. You might drink a bit more. I did, to try and mask it. You just don't mentally have the capacity to do everything, and unfortunately, family always is the one that cops the grunt of it.
No, I feel you, man. I personally have been. I didn't get to the point where I had to shut up shop, but I got to the point where I was fully consumed by the business as well, drinking to like pretty much not be in reality, because reality was so painful for me. I wasn't present with the family. So all the things you're describing, I was on the same path, and I just think it was lucky. But maybe I had a bit more structure at the time than you, because I didn't have, I had some managers and some extra stuff I could lean on. But it's hard, eh? Like, and these are the things that some people just haven't experienced yet. And it's the pressure of, staff and their families relying on you, not being able to pay the tax bill, not being able to pay the wholesaler bill. And that can't get out of your head, that like, fuck, I don't know if I'm going to be able to afford next week's payroll, because of the situation. And we're not talking like, $500. This is when you've got that many staff. It's 20,000. It's 30,000. So it's fucking scary when you've only got $300 in the bank and you've got a $30,000 payroll next week. So yeah.
30 was at the top of it, but yeah, it averaged down to 20, and it fluctuated all over the show. But a funny story I want to share is I tried to take a holiday once, and we were traveling down to Mandurah to stay in a chalet, or whatever it was, and I had to pull over 6 times to get my laptop out and deal with something on just the trip to get down there. So that hour's trip, it took 4 hours. It took 4 hours to get down there. Then you already get to the holiday and you're fried. Like, your brain's just gone crazy. You're just not switching off. So you can imagine what the holiday was like. It was crap.
Yeah, man. So yeah, a lot of lessons there, and I appreciate you sharing, man. And it's tough, and like I said, I'm really proud of you for pulling through and rebuilding your life. And you've come into the academy, and you've had this opportunity to now do it a new way. So I'd love for you to share some of the things that you've learnt that you wish you knew in that first business, coming in into the academy. And I think you came in maybe 4 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've been able to come in with this, previous experience of what it can be like, which a lot of people don't. And to be able to come in now to have the support and be able to have this, the coaches, the community, and the training. So how is that different to the way, what did you wish you knew in that first business that you've learnt now?
Oh, the quickest one is the brain dump, asana. Being able to just push everything out of your mind and have it ready for the next day. You can go, okay, I got home tonight. I've got a few things that I remember. Bang, bang, bang. Put it in there. Switch off. Done. Amazing. Just everything from the different way you charge out through the shopping list pricing system. Starting off and understanding your financials. Like, I now know how to read a balance and P&L better than I ever did before. I don't think I actually understood it before, but I've been trained now, which is amazing. Right through to treating the guys that the girls and the guys that work for me. So they realised I was brought up old school. The boss was like, "Oh, come on, slugger," because that's what they used to call me. go grab a bag of concrete from Bunnings and toughen the fuck up, and sayings like that, and sayings like that, and now I don't treat my employees hard like that. I listen to them, and the academy's taught me to just be able to know what this generation's doing and what they need. It's different now. I can't relate back to my days anymore. I have to come up to the level. And without a doubt, that's the most important thing I reckon I've learned, is to the culture and the atmosphere and everything around the business. It's just amazing to be able to now go to work and be so bloody happy and push that enthusiasm through. And I have an end game now. I know where I'm going. Like, it's not if, it's when. Like, I know
Yeah.
exactly what I want now. I know exactly how I'm going to get it. If I don't know how to do it, I just lean on a coach and go, hey, A to Z, this is happening. What do you reckon? Bam. Sort it, implement it, deal with it, done. Next milestone. What do we got to do to get to the next one? And you just keep going
Yeah.
through those milestones, and it's going to happen. I don't have any fear that's not going to happen. Whereas before, there was nothing. I didn't know what was going to happen.
Mm.
So yeah, really cool.
If we think about how these lessons and systems and processes are built, they're usually built from a place of, hey, let's try this. Because for us, like you said, we weren't business people, right? We were tradies. And we're like, I want to start a business because I want to have this life where I have more freedom and flexibility. But when we get into the business, we don't realize it, but we're doing all of those extra roles. And we're not trained in those extra roles. We're great at being the tradie on site. And I think that's why we always gravitate to go back on the tools, because it feels comfortable. But all of those extra roles we've never been trained in. And I realized that as well. And so you're starting to go like, well, what if this might work? So you test something out for a while, and it might be 6 months. You're testing something. You go, it doesn't work. Let's go try something new. And you try something new again. It might take 2 years to figure out this is probably the better way to do it. And not to mention the tens of hundreds of thousands of
Oh,
dollars it costs in wasted efficiency and time and your attention and all that sort of stuff. So that's how those lessons have been built. And it's so awesome, now also for all of our community to be able to do the same thing, leveraging off of these systems and testing new things, and to get even better, more optimized systems and processes to get almost the best way of doing it as a trade business. And, that's where we're seeing people where it took, me 10 years to get to what we call operational time freedom in just 1 or 2 years. It's because they're leveraging off systems that have been tested over years and years and years and cost hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in mistakes and trialing and changing and lost efficiency and churning staff and trying to figure out how to get your team, performing well, and all of the different elements in a business. And like you said, pricing properly, understanding costs, how to read a P&L, how to read a balance sheet. Because some people might have heard my story around the balance sheet and P&L, but I was the same, working 16-hour days nearly every day, 7 days a week for a whole year, busting my ass, doing everything, all the roles, just like you. Got to the end of the financial year, and I think I made $2,000 or something net profit. I'm like, fuck me. What the hell? Like,
it's
yeah. And I'm
crazy.
like, I got to figure this money thing out. And that's where I actually got a CFO to train me on how to read it all. But that was like, it took me a whole year and only making $2,000 and working that many hours to finally be able to read a P&L and a balance sheet to go, oh, this is my scorecard. This is what I make all my decisions off. Are we making money? Are we not? Are we charging enough? Are we not? Are we not efficient enough? Are we not? So yeah, that's crazy that all of us are just busting our gut, hoping for the best and hoping one day we have future of freedom and flexibility, when actually we can work backwards, like you said, knowing it's not a matter of, whether we will or not, but when. So yeah, I love that you said that. So that's really cool.
And the money's made in the office. I know we've got to go out and do the work, but have the strategic decisions are made in the back end, and just being able to just have all those resources available to strengthen your business from the start, not even having to go through that blowing money and and figuring it all out, you just go, hey, what do you reckon about this? And bang, there it is, boom, finished, done, implemented, gone.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to talk about those three things you just shared. So you said the brain dump. Now, I love this analogy. My wife actually shared, you see that yesterday in the academy. Frankie shared, when your brain is full, you've got no capacity left. And there is, you don't have an infinite amount of storage in your brain for all of the things you got to do. And if you do get to capacity, that's when you start forgetting. You start forgetting. You'll remember 2:00 in the morning, or in 3 weeks' time when it was might be too late, and things start to fall away on the wayside. And that's us trying to manage too much and trying to keep too much in our brains is like having a computer with a limited amount of RAM. And when you have too many applications open on your computer, what happens?
Boil over.
Yeah, it freezes up. And if
Yeah.
it's real bad, if you've really crammed your capacity in your computer RAM, it shuts down. And that's us like fully shutting down and going into a really dark place. And our brains are no different. So a way to close those applications is to do a brain dump and get all of the things you got to do out of your brain. And so this is something that how you've been able to protect your nest, right? Your home, your safe place from the business activities. So can you speak more of like, what is your routine? Like how do you make sure when you're at home, you can fully give your best self to your family and your partner?
So when I sign off for the day, I brain dump. I make sure everything's in Asana and ready for the next morning. I have a set routine set up in Asana so that I can just switch off at night, knowing in the morning I know exactly what I need to do first up, and make sure that I follow the processes through the day, and keep that level of pressure down, and prioritize what tasks are, and put the ones that are lower to do later, and just compartmentalizing everything and making sure that everything's is all low, calm. I mean, we're in a trade business, so now and then things get a bit, we got to step up for certain times, but when those times come, I'm ready for them. And then I get through it and I get home and I'm like, bang, home time. This is amazing. I don't have to worry now. And then when you're at home and you got that fence around that nest and you've got people calling, and this is the biggest things for trades is the calling. The automation's set up now so that the customer's getting their needs felt without me having to do it for them while I'm in my time.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That is, and it's a win-win for everybody. And whereas the old me would just take those calls at 10:00 at night and then be stressed and everything, that all ends now. Yeah, it's a game changer.
Even sparking a conversation near bedtime is pretty devastating for your sleep, eh? Because you're like thinking about it all night and it's like, oh, I've got to do that tomorrow. If you've got no process to be able to, release yourself from that responsibility of holding on to it, it will just sit in your brain festering. And so, yeah.
Sleep time. Yeah, sleep used to be really bad for me. I'm not a huge sleeper, but the sleep I do get now is solid and it's enough for me, and it's not woken up by worrying about, oh, I wonder what's happening with this or that. If I do, and we all slip back sometimes. We're all human being, and we'll naturally go back to what we know. Whereas now it's like, well, hang on, Adam, what's going on here? You've dealt with this. It's finished. Back to sleep.
Yeah, totally. How good's that?
Yeah.
For anyone that's listening, if you're in the academy and you remember, go and check out the Asana masterclass, because you can go and, go through our process, which also took me years to figure out what is the best way to prioritize, be able to release yourself from responsibility and free your time and create freedom today. Freedom is often like your mind freedom. You don't even have space in your mind to give to anyone else. You're not free. You're a slave to your company. But if you're not a member yet and you want to try this, just use a piece of paper and just get everything out at the end of the day before you walk in the door on a piece of paper, everything you've got to do, and just leave it in your van or leave it, in your office, and just know that it's going to be sitting there for tomorrow. When you wake up and you're ready to switch on at work, there's everything that you had from yesterday. You don't have to remember it. And so you're going to sleep better. You're going to be able to recover better. You're going to be able to come tomorrow with more energy and be able to show up for your team and your clients, with a better state of mind. So, is there anything else you want to add to that, Adam, that you feel's important?
Oh, just show how awesome is it showing up your best self, fresh, and it just reflects to your customers. They feel it. Your team feels it. It's amazing. It's an amazing feeling. And then thinking, okay, I might have a tough day today, but you know what? I'm going home tonight, and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, awesome. So the other one was just understanding financials and your costs and pricing properly. Looking back at your previous business, do you feel you might have been running at a loss or break even a lot of the time, which means that all of that stuff and all that work wasn't really driving the business
Yeah,
forward and upward?
I didn't know my cost of ops in my old business. I was charging a rate that did it cover the costs? Don't know. I didn't understand it. Whereas refer that to now, I know what my cost of operations is. So then I know what my hourly rate has to be to make money and the different setups from service to project. And then when it comes to actually presenting that to the customer before it be an hourly rate, this is what it is, labour, these are the materials, and the customer go, oh, what's your hourly rate? There'll always be this talk about it all, very uncomfortable. Whereas now the customer just gets a per point rate, and if they say what's your hourly rate, I say, well, there is no actually hourly rate. This is the cost per item, guaranteed for you, whether we take longer or quicker. That's a guaranteed price. And then when you do additions, I say to the customer, well, you know what your cost is going to be at the end. If you add in a PowerPoint, if you add a light, if you do anything extra, you know in your head you can keep track of those costs. So then when you get your bill, if it's not quoted, you know roughly within 5% maybe what your cost is going to be. So that shuts all that down. And at the same time, because I'm training the boys behind me to be more efficient, we make more money.
Yeah.
And the customer gets a guaranteed price. The whole concept is just a win. Yeah.
Yes, win-win.
Amazing.
And then it's learning how to understand billable hours and efficiency and labor efficiency and material efficiency. And when you understand all of those metrics, you've got so much confidence in, whether or not you should put another staff member on, how much more work you got to do, even the impact of getting, extra work while you're on site, all of that makes more sense. And it's not like a guess, it's very calculated, it's mathematical. And, your approach to business is no longer just guessing and hoping, but actually very intentional. And so that's what I love about, the things that we teach and how it's helping people like yourself.
Yeah, and it forces you to keep hiring because you're like, my cost of ops is at a certain rate. I need to hire now. I need to expand now and to be able to then make more profit and then build the team so that you're at a level where you can move to that next step, whether it's ops manager or GM or sales or whatever you choose, which is great because it's my choice. That's the biggest thing too. It's actually my choice. I get to choose now what role I want to do next. How awesome is that?
Yeah, so awesome. I definitely love sitting in the marketing and sales space, as everyone would probably guess, but that's my role of choice. That's where I love to sit. And then the operations, I'm not that good at running, a team. I'm not that good at all of those sort of things. So I have staff that are very good at that. Like they're very good at people management and having hard conversations and performance managing. Whereas I don't like having those conversations. I turn away from them because they're hard to have for me. So to be able to hire people that, are really good at that, allows the team to also flourish because they've got someone that can provide them with very direct feedback that helps them grow in a really positive way. But I think it's tough, that role as a business owner anyway, because you're always so overwhelmed with everything. You've got so much in your mind all the time. So when it comes to people management, it's pretty hard to do. It's a hard skill to do as a business owner because of that reason, I feel. You feel in the same way?
Definitely. And again, back to when you got all those hats on, doing all those different roles, very hard to keep on top of all that, because you're just not giving the time to do it.
Mm.
And let's say our team is our business. We got to lean on our team. That they are what makes us.
Yeah.
And as much as we're the owner, but we're creating a business that's structured as a nucleus. It's not just not me anymore doing everything and running around. No, there's a team member now that does that, and I'm just the head of it, and and enjoying it. Like, yeah,
Yeah. I really like the analogy of, as a business owner, it's good to think of yourself as like a coach. So the coach shouldn't get on the field and start kicking the ball for the players. The players are your team, and you need those players. And the better those players are, the more games you're going to win. But if they're not good players and they're toxic and they don't give a shit, then you're going to have a real problem winning games. And your games as a trade business owner is the jobs you do. How well do you do a project? How well do you fulfill the needs of your customer? How well do you blow them away with the experience they had? All of those things is how well they play the game. And so if you start to see yourself as a coach, you don't get in the field with them. And sometimes, as a business owner, you're going to have to, but the more you can come on the field as a coach to demonstrate how to do it rather than do it yourself, the better. That's how you're going to have to do it. So, yeah, man, it's been an awesome chat. I'd love to end on some of the things that you learnt through that really dark time, because I probably learnt the most about myself in those dark times. There was a lot of abuse, drinking way too much, trying to cope with the situation, not knowing how to handle the situation emotionally. It's tough. And I learnt a lot of coping mechanisms that I use, but I'd love to see if you learnt some that you would be able to share with the members who might be facing really tough times at the moment.
yeah. The hardest thing I found was the loneliness and not feeling positive about yourself, and that brings in the bad habits of drinking, smoking, things like that, and you you don't ask for help. I think that the biggest thing that I've found is you don't ask for help. It's the flight and fight mode when you just run, and you've got to reach out and get and ask for help, and and the academy in a way is that help, because um, you've got someone to talk to, you've got avenues on every front to help you bring yourself up, and to the point where Frankie, the counsellor, amazing. Like there's all sorts of different things you can do, but the most important thing is, I feel, is everything is to treat yourself properly and actually talk to yourself. Like, if anxiety kicks in, I'll have a chat to myself and say, "Hey, what's going on here, Adam? Well,
Mm.
let's absorb this problem that's happening, and then go, okay, well, I'm not feeling too well here, but talk to yourself, look down at your tummy. I'm doing it right now. Look down at your tummy and say, okay, that's happened. We got a solution now, and the solution is whatever that might be, in life. Either if it's the business, talk to a coach, get that sorted, and then feel good and say, hey, I've actually just solved that problem. Let's keep going." And the more you keep going and looking after yourself and eating properly and exercising to produce energy to get you more motivated, just slowly brings that up, and brings the pressure down, and it's very hard to explain, but you've really just got to look after what's in here, and make sure that the coping mechanisms that work for you are bringing you out of that lull that you're in.
Yeah, so important, man. Yeah, and that's probably one of the biggest things that I learned as well, which is talking to myself through the form of journaling. So writing out how I'm feeling, trying to really understand the situation that I'm in, and creating that awareness is the first step of actually going, well, if that's what's happening, this is what I need to do to fix that, like you said. So that's really important. So yeah, we've we've got your back, all the Academy members. And also, I don't know if everyone knows, but if you're listening to this and you are an Academy member, we provide 3 complimentary psychology sessions because we want you to experience the power of getting that support, helping you invest in your own mind and understand what's causing you to have certain behavior, what's causing you to really struggle and turn away from things, or the way you act and the way you behave in situations. I used to be like, fuck, I'm not going to a psychologist, because my family used to say, if you go to a psychologist, you're crazy. Like, you're fucked
Yeah.
up. You're gone. Like, that's the end.
Yeah.
You're fucked. So
Yeah.
I had this huge adversity to doing it. But when I finally did it, I was like, holy crap, like there's an actual reason why I do what I do that I didn't even know what was happening. So to understand your own mind is probably the best investment you can make. Such a powerful thing. And why wouldn't you spend time with someone who works with people to understand their own mind and the way it works? And they've studied that and they understand the science. You know, it doesn't mean you're crazy. It just means you need support in understanding yourself. And the psychologist is the person that's going to help you do that. And it doesn't mean you're crazy. It's just that we all need to be able to understand ourselves.
It's okay to ask for help. There's not a problem. We're not old school anymore. We're human beings. We have feelings. And throughout our life, we need help. Don't do what I did and run. Ask for it. I should have asked for it at the start, but I didn't. So if I can pass anything on to anybody, is this, the moment you feel as though you need help, just ask for it straight up. Who cares if it comes across old school weak or whatever, like you're just saying then, oh, I can't go see a counsellor. Nah, do it. Trust me, just nip it in the bud straight away and learn the mechanisms to help yourself when you are by yourself, to then get through that. It's amazing when you now that I might get into a bit of like anxiety or whatever, it's dealt with really quick. Got the mechanisms to get me through that, and it doesn't happen very often now, which is amazing. Whereas before it was all the time. So,
Yeah. Same with me. Like, when things get tough at work, I know how to handle that. I know how to handle myself to show up as my best self at work. When I'm really struggling or starting to argue with my wife, I know how to look at myself and fix myself so that stops, instead of blame her, or instead of blame the team, or instead of, blame the kids for being naughty. If I'm reacting to them, I know there's something going on with me. So fix me and I won't be so reactive. I can sit through that tough, whinging and whining, because there's actually something else going on for them. So, understanding that in yourself and how to get to that place of calm is going to take time. It's going to take a lot of reflection, and it's okay, to be reflecting and being critical of yourself in the intention of healing yourself. Because once you heal yourself, then you're going to show up as your best self to everyone else around you, to your kids, to your partner, to your staff, to your clients, and the community that surrounds you as well.
And don't you feel like the man though? You're like, it's like, I'm gonna go. It's an awesome feeling. It's so hard to explain, but you're just on top of the world, and you're on your game. Doesn't matter what's thrown at you. It's like the Matrix. Come on, bring it.
Like the Matrix. I've got this.
Bring it.
So good. Right. Love speaking to you today. I really appreciate you sharing your story. I think it's going to be an inspiring one to everyone listening. Keep doing what you're doing. I can't wait for you to have that operational freedom you set out to get when you started that initial business. You're so close, and I can't wait, within the year, I think you're going to be there and having that freedom. But you've already got it. You've got your nest, you've got your ways to switch off and create freedom today. But it's only going to keep getting sweeter with the right structure.
Oh, can't wait. Excellent.
Awesome,
Thanks
mate.
a lot, Greg.
Thanks for joining
Appreciate
us.
it. No worries. Cheers.
Hey guys, it's Greg here. Thanks for listening to the podcast. For me, growing my trade business was extremely hard. It cost me millions of dollars, so much time trying to figure out what was the right way to do business, and emotionally feeling like I'm letting myself, my partner, and my family down by not knowing how to run my business properly. But I kept working hard and overcame those challenges and created systems and solutions that minimize those mistakes for myself and my team as we grew. Now, Response Electricians, go and Google it. We've got over 1,700 reviews on Google. We've won awards like Electrician of the Year and Service Business of the Year, both state and nationally. I sat on the National Board of Directors for Master Electricians Australia for 2 years, created a real solid awareness of the industry and the construction industry and the challenges you face. And the business runs autonomously over in Perth while I live my life working on the academy in Byron Bay. And I help people like you create freedom from your business as well. Now, having coached and trained thousands of trade business owners, we've developed the Freedom Fighters program. It's a guided pathway in a hybrid training and coaching system that provides you with the right information and steps to take to create freedom, not in years, but now. You can actually create more freedom from your business sooner than you think. So click the link and have a free strategy session with one of our academy experts to fully understand how you can create more time freedom from your trade business, generating more profit, better culture, and more growth in less time.